Good evening, everybody. Here we are at Heritage Way, and this evening's Young Farmers meeting and entertainment for any of the others of you joining in is hen judging. So we're going to be judging 4 laying hens. Here they are down there. There's actually only 3 of them there at the moment, but there is another one about somewhere. And yeah, they are Warren hybrid laying hens, if anybody's interested. And hopefully you're going to give it a go, whether you've done Young Farmers judging or not. Just have a go. I'm going to tell you how to judge hens very shortly, and then you'll be able to hopefully put them in an order of your preference, and also then give verbal reasons by making a little video and posting it below. That'll be your entry, and I, as the master judge, or so-called master judge, will decide who's the best hen judge of the evening. So I'm just going to give you some tips on how to judge hens so that you can have a go. First thing to note is these are laying hens, okay? They're not for show. You won't take them to the Keithley show and try and get prizes with them. You wouldn't eat them for meat at any point. So they are basically egg laying machines, and that's what you're judging them on, for their laying ability. So the main way that you test if your hen is laying or not, apart from looking every day to see if it is if we have a look at the back end of the hen, and there we have it. We've got some fluffy feathers down here, and if you just dab your hand, not into it, just dab it against its backside, and you'll feel 2 little what we call pelvic bones down here, and I can feel them there, and you don't need to touch hard, but you can just feel, I can feel that those 2 fingers there are between the pelvic bones there. So that means that there's quite a wide gap, and that means an egg can fit through, if you want to put it that way. And so this is a laying hen. So the first thing that you do if you're normally judging hens and you're allowed to touch them is test whether each one was laying, because if they are, then great, it's making you money. If not, then it basically is eating your hen corn, but it's not producing anything, so it's actually costing you money then. So for purposes of today, with it being virtual, I'm going to tell you, when we look at each hen, how many fingers I can get between its pelvic bones, and you can make the decision on whether it's laying or not then. So once you've done the kind of laying end of the hen, then the next thing that you've got to judge it against the other hens is like its conformation, what it looks like. And obviously you want a really good healthy looking hen, because if it's looking healthy and it has youthful looks, a bit like me, then it's going to be alive for a long time and keep laying eggs in the future for you. So one way that you tell whether a hen is in good health is it should have a nice bright eye. It should have what they call a clean beak. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not dirty, but it should be not crossed over, basically to enable it to peck lots of grass and eat lots of hen corn, so that it can keep putting the stuff in one end and producing the eggs at the other end. They also should have a good deep red comb and a deep red wattle, which is this dangly bit there. That's the wattle there. And as you can see, this hen here, it's looking at the camera, it's quite inquisitive, it's got a bright eye there. So yeah, I'd say this was looking quite a healthy hen. The other thing that they should have is quite good plumage, and that means not all over the place with scraggy feathers, and that isn't too good, but it's a windy day today, we'll let it off a little bit. It should be quite tight to its body, should the plumage, and it should be all over most of the hen. Now that's not as important as whether it's laying or not, and to be honest, sometimes they go in and out of molt, and sometimes they just do look a bit scraggy. And there's some here that have been what I call recycled hens. They've come from a big barn where they were meant to be free range, but probably never saw a blade of grass, and they would peck each other inside the hut. And you'll see when we show the pictures later on, there's some with some bits where they've been pecked at by other hens. So just on the basis that you want them to look nice, as a secondary thing to the egg laying, then you can judge them on how they look. So they need to nice tight feathers, they should have kind of clean legs, not too scaly, should be quite smooth. And if you want to look at the wings and things and see if they've got any feathers missing, you can. But in general, it just needs to look at a healthy egg laying machine. So this is hen A. This has got a width between its pelvic bones of 2 and a little bit fingers, and I'll just show it to you there, walking around. It's a little bit windy, so its feathers are blowing a little bit, but there it is. So that's hen A. This is hen B. And this one has got just less than 2 finger widths between its 2 pelvic bones. So this is B, hen B. So this is hen X. And this one has got 2 finger spaces between its 2 pelvic bones. And this is hen Y. And this one has about 1 2/3 spaces between its 2 pelvic bones. A little bit lighter is this one as well when I was holding it to check that. Something I didn't mention before was body capacity, and it was hard to compare for you when you're holding one at a time or looking at one at a time, but you're looking for a hen with plenty of body capacity so that it can take plenty of inputs in and produce plenty of outputs out. So just so that you can compare here, and I know this is difficult, but we've now got A is on the right hand side now, and then we've got Y next to it, X in the middle of the group now, and this one on the near side is B. So we've got B, A, X, and up at the back Y. In the Young Farmers Livestock Judging Scoring System, you get scored out of 100 points in total, and 50 of them are for how close you get your order of preference to that of the Master Judge. The other 50 are for how well you do your verbal reasoning. 25 of them are for your accuracy of observation. So if the hen that you're talking about at the time has a large red comb, for example, you would mention that. If it has some white feathers around its neck, you might mention that, just so the judge knows that you've been paying close attention to the animals that you're judging. The next area where you can score points is for a comparative rather than a descriptive statement. So going back to where we mentioned the one with the big red comb a minute ago, rather than just describing the hen and saying this hen has a big red comb, you'd say this hen had the biggest reddest comb of the 4 hens on show this evening. It may also have had the brightest eye, the cleanest beak, the smoothest legs, so don't miss out on an opportunity to compare rather than describe. There's 15 points for that, and that leaves 10 points, and those are for how well you present your verbal reasoning to the judge. Now, in a competition you'd be wearing a white coat and a tie, and we won't be doing that this evening, but this evening it's going to be all about how well you present your reasons to the judge, how clear you are, how you say your reasons concisely and within the 2-minute time period that you've got, and just to give the judge a feeling that you know what you're doing and you're an expert hen judge. The best way to start giving your reasons is say, Master Judge, I place these 4 laying hens in this case, and then give your order, might be A, Y, X, B, and then say the reasons why you put the top hen over the second hen. and remember to be comparative rather than descriptive there again. And then you'll compare your second to your third, and your third to your fourth place hen. And then at the end, the best thing to say is, and those, Master Judge, are my reasons for placing the 4 laying hens in the order, boom, 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 just to kind of emphasise again to him, that's your order, you're sticking with it, and you're quite happy with it. Okay, you've now seen all 4 hens. Hopefully you can put them into an order and make some notes before you do your video. Have a couple of reads through, a couple of practices, and then press record. No more than 2 minutes, remember, and post it below on the Facebook page. Good luck.